turned into Remote Control's latest episode. Listen in as the GCRN crew talks TV from 2000 to now, with pilot and season premiere episodes, finishing finales, and season passes as well. Now get ready to change the channel with your remote control as we bring you the latest and greatest in the world of television. All from the Geekcast Radio Network. We are all remote controlled.
My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive. When I was a child, I saw my mother killed by something impossible. My father went to prison for her murder. Then an accident made me the impossible. To the outside world, I am an ordinary forensic scientist. But secretly, I use my speed to fight crime and find others like me. And one day I'll find who killed my mother and get justice for my father. That day is today.
Grab that remote control because the GCRN's brand new TV podcast is here. We are calling it Remote Control. I am your host, TFG1Mike, and joining me this time is Steve Megatron. Hello.
Hello.
We are going to be speeding through Central City because chasing the Flash is almost an impossible task. This is going to be the next installment for finishing finales. Last time we did Gotham with Jeremy Fine and I, and Gotham...
Yeah, that's one of those shows that I'm giving until the mid-season break of season 2, and if it doesn't improve, I'm dropping it.
I'm giving it 5 episodes in season 2.
Well,
if all 5 of those episodes just don't knock my socks off, then Supergirl will easily replace it.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it too for me. But I mean, it's the big thing with that is that I'm not really sure about the show yet. I mean, I enjoy it, but it's not by any means a good superhero show. I mean, I know that it's not superhero show in itself, but it's it's a Commissioner Gordon, you know.
It's Gothville.
It's not even that. It's
I know.
It's like watching a cop procedural with Batman characters.
Yeah. Excuse me. All right. So back in the fall of 2014, we kicked off Remote Control with 6 or 7 different pilot premieres. One of those was The Flash. I believe Doug Abel was on that episode with me. I honestly cannot remember, and I'm not looking it up right now, folks. But yeah, The Flash, CW's latest show to spin... Actually, its first show to spin out of Arrow. Oh boy, Arrow. That's a discussion for a whole other day. Anyway, The Flash. I love this show. After watching the whole season as it aired on TV, the difference between and I know my good buddy Optibotimus is going to say this because this is what he's always said. How can you compare season 1 of a show to a show that's had 3 seasons already? Well, I'm sorry. The Flash season 1 did so many things right compared to Arrow season 3. At least in my opinion, Arrow season 3 was way too dark, and I know there's been news items lately that Arrow season 4 is going to be lighter and brighter, and I'm just waiting for him to have a boxing glove Arrow. That's really all I want.
He's already had one.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
See, I don't even remember it was so damn dull. But anyway, The Flash. I don't know what to think, because I almost want season 2. I want them to show us, at least in one episode, what would have happened if they hadn't changed, because the timeline change is like, oh my god. And I kind of knew that's what was going to happen. I kind of figured that the whole timeline thing, from the very first episode, I kind of figured that, we were going to get into that and everything else. What were your, since you weren't on the pilot premiere episode, and what were your first impressions of The Flash? Because I know you're mainly, when it comes to DC, you're pretty much stuck in Gotham City.
Well, I would argue that Flash is actually my second favorite.
Okay.
To Batman.
Okay.
So having him have his own show is a lot more interesting to me than. And don't get me wrong, I really do love Arrow. I just like how they constantly pull from the Bat Gallery.
Yeah.
But I think that having this show spring out of Arrow kind of helped it in a sense because it gave it legs in that universe, and it kind of took away like a lot of the need for the origin, despite the fact that they quickly blitzed through it. And I also love the fact that he got the suit within the first episode, and he's very raw at his job, but he's got this supportive group behind him, and watching Barry Allen grow into the role throughout the season has been great. And then there's the fact that Harrison Wells has become more of an asshole as the season's gone.
Yeah. Well,
So
we'll get to all that, but yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean overall it's been a really good, fun ride. And also it's a show that I can watch with my wife, so it makes it that much more enjoyable.
Do you want to tell the people the story
About the fact that if they don't have powers, she doesn't want to watch?
Yeah.
I got her to watch the Supergirl pilot.
Yeah, but then she said, wait a second, this doesn't come out until when? December.
This yeah. And she was like, why are you showing this to me now?
Excuse me. I almost think we ought to have, I won't do this, but I almost think we ought to have a pilot premiere for Supergirl since it leaked so damn early. But anyway, The Flash. My first impressions of the show, it was fresh, new characters. I've never really... Okay, there are many different Flash fans, because there are many different Flashes. And Barry Allen was never... Well, it was never my Flash. Wally West was my Flash. Michael Rosenbaum voicing Wally West in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. That was my introduction to the overall Flash character. Yeah, I knew of the Flash TV series, and I knew of the movie Flash Gordon and all this and all that and everything else.
Flash Gordon's not even the same thing.
I know. I knew about all this stuff, and I knew he was in Super Friends and whatever else, but until Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, I didn't really pay any attention to the Flash. And once it was Wally, I was like, okay, yep, that's my Flash. And anytime Barry showed up and anything else I saw, it was like, who's this Barry Allen kid? I mean, I kind of really dug him in, which one is it? It's New Front, the DC animated movie, Justice League New Frontier. I dug him in that. But having this be Barry Allen and having the fact that it's a former Glee star.
Say what you will about the Glee stars.
No, I know.
But it seems like they've turned out to be the best, most well-rounded superheroes.
Yeah.
I mean, because Supergirl is also a Glee alumni.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, that's the coolest thing. I'm wondering when they are going to get her to sing, because they got Grant to sing in the first season of Flash. There was an episode where he and Caitlin went to a karaoke bar, and he knocked it out of the park there. So, all right, just to get the stage dressing out of the way here, folks. Obviously, the show debuted in 2014 on the CW. It's a 1-hour show with commercials, anywhere between 49 and 53 minutes without, I think, somewhere around there. I don't know. Season 1 so far, and Season 2 has been, pretty much, greenlit and all that stuff. Season 1 has 23 episodes. What I did last time when Jeremy and I did the finishing finales, and what finishing finales is going to do when we jump on the casting couch. In the pilot premieres, we talk about the actual cast and what we've known them in, and how we perceive them to be as we're going to watch the show. In finishing finales, we're going to actually talk about the cast and how we feel they fit their characters over the season. So we have, let's see, for the characters, we have Gustin as Barry Allen the Flash. Candice Patton as Iris West, Danielle Panabaker as Dr. Caitlin Snow, Rick Costner as Eddie Thawne, Carlos Valdez as Cisco Ramon, Tom Cavanaugh as Dr. Harrison Wells, and Jesse L. Martin as Detective Joe West. Now, one big change for The Flash is that the Wests are African American in this series. I personally don't care. There are certain things when you have gender bending or race bending that kind of get under my skin. But this really works because, first of all, Candice is awesome as Iris. And Joe West, I mean, I just love his portrayal.
Yeah. He's such a strong character in the show.
He is, but and I know, you're not too young, but you're young enough where you wouldn't care to watch the show. Where I know Jesse L. Martin originally from is teamed up with Jerry Orbach on Law and Order as he was Ed Green, and Jerry Orbach played Lenny Briscoe.
Believe it or not, I have seen some of those.
I know, but it's not.
I knew him from that too.
It's not something that you're not like me. You don't watch every single episode of everything sometimes. So, it's one of those things where I'm like, holy crap, Jesse L. Martin in The Flash? That's awesome. He's playing a cop. Oh my god, it's Law and Order with superheroes. That is so great. Law and Order had so many episodes, folks. I don't even know where to begin on his character's evolution in that show. But you see the cop in him, and I see Ed Green in him a little bit still. But you see this whole other side of the father figure, the this, the that, because the basic story behind the Flash is, at least in this series, something happened with his mom. Supposedly his dad killed her, but nobody really believes that. His dad goes to prison for it, and Barry ends up, as a kid, he ends up like 6 miles away from his house or whatever. And as the series progresses, we find out that he was in a coma for 9 months, 11 months, whatever it is, and he had to go on and have Joe West as his father figure, and I think it really, really worked out well. Oh God, I really don't want to make this reference, but I have to, folks. It just popped into my head. The Flash is a it's a race reversal from Different Strokes, where the African American kids were the kids and the white father, and anyway.
Yeah, now you're talking out of your ass because I have no idea.
No, people will know. Yeah, you are too young for Different Strokes.
I've heard of it. I know of it, but I don't care for.
Well, no, but I'm saying in that series, the father was white and the kids were black. In this series, the father is black and the kid is white. Well, the adopted kid. So, with the cast, how do you feel? Had you ever watched Glee before? Have you ever seen Grant Gustin in anything?
I had no interest in that show whatsoever.
Okay.
I don't. This is going to sound really funny, but I can't stand singing shows of any kind. Something about it just irks me.
Yeah.
I can't sit through a show. I have a hard enough time. If there's a movie, the minute they start singing, I'm done. It's the weirdest thing in the world. And I don't mean to do that. It just kind of happens that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had never seen him before. He is a complete unknown to me. The only singing contest I ever watch anymore, and I hardly watch that anymore because it's gone so downhill, is The Voice. So, I mean, Grant, he's an awesome actor, and I think he really fit into the mold of Barry so well. Because throughout the season, you see him go from just being I don't want to say this, but the the Edward Nygma Gotham type of character in the very beginning, where, oh, would you like to solve a riddle kind of thing, or, oh, well, this is, Grant as Barry doing the crime scene thing. It's like, oh, would you like to know how this happened, this happened, this happened? And as the season progresses and as his character develops, he kind of gets away from the whole crime scene tech thing. I mean, he still uses it, but we see him more and more and more become the Flash than he does himself, if that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, you see less and less of the
Barry Allen persona.
Well, not even that. You see more of his character come out. You see less of his cop persona.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think he just does it so well. Let's talk about Candice Patton as Iris West. In the beginning, I found her a little bit annoying.
Well, she had that trope of your typical.
She was trying to be Chloe from Smallville, is what she was trying.
Well, it was
to do.
almost like watching Laurel all over again, season 1 or 2 of.
Yeah, that too. Why do all the superheroes and their women have to meet on roofs? Oh, boy. I mean, I think Candice is an amazing actress. Again, I had never heard of her, and this is the first thing I'd seen her in. And after looking her up, she's done some pretty interesting stuff. But we talked about that way back when in the pilot premiere. And Iris, I think the biggest problem with Iris in season 1 is they never let her in on the secret until the very end, when they absolutely could not keep it from her anymore. But that was the biggest thing that kind of held her back, was not knowing that Barry was the Flash.
Yep.
We got Danielle Panabaker as Dr. Caitlin Snow. She's named after the civilian identity of the DC Comics character Killer Frost. We don't know if she's ever going to become Killer Frost in this series. I really hope she doesn't, because I like her as a good girl. I like, her character in this. It basically starts out with, she had a fiance who kind of, burnt up in the explosion, quite literally, and melded with another guy. We'll talk about those two guys a little bit later. And, she lost her fiance, and she had to move on, and she, I thought if she could never get Ronnie back,
that she would go after Barry?
No, I thought that might put her over the edge to becoming Killer Frost, but it hasn't happened. And honestly, I don't want it to happen. I don't want this show to turn into the BS that it is going to be BVS. I do not want the Flash to turn into everybody's a friggin' superhero.
Well, there's going to be heroes and villains, but I think that eventually it's going to happen.
What did you think of her overall? The character and all that as the season went on.
I enjoyed her. I mean, she was a lot more useful than, again, Laurel, until she became the Canary.
Yeah. Then we have Rick Cosnett as Eddie Thawne. At first, I thought this was just going to be a one-off kind of thing. Like, this is going to be a cop of the week kind of thing. And I know that Eddie Thawne is a big part of the Flash, and he was the Reverse Flash, and this, that, and the other thing, and everything else. But I don't know. I just didn't really care for the character that much.
I saw the necessity of him.
Yeah.
But I didn't actually. I see why he's there, and he's setting up for later.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, just waiting for the payoff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the payoff was pretty good, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. We have Carlos Valdez as Cisco Ramon. named after the civilian identity of the DC Comics character Vibe. Now, Cisco, I think they are going to eventually turn him into Vibe.
Well, yeah, just like they're going to turn Caitlin into Killer Frost.
Well, I think they're going to turn him into Vibe because of how everything happened in the first season once Barry changed the timeline. Once Barry went back in time to, stop the earthquake and all that. I mean, I like Cisco. I kind of like the trope of him naming stuff. I think that's kind of cool because you got to figure out some way to put the name game in there somewhere, and he does it with a comical sense. And I like that. What did you think of Cisco overall?
I liked him.
And then we have Eobard Thawne, or I'm sorry, Dr. Harrison Wells, Tom Cavanaugh. I wasn't sure. Like, the first half of the season, you always would see him. Like, obviously, us as the viewer, we knew that he could get out of the wheelchair almost immediately. Once he started integrating or talking with Gideon, the super futuristic computer thing inside the hidden wall there, we knew something was up. But we didn't know exactly what. And then it was revealed. And, like I said, we'll talk about all that here in a minute. But I like Tom Cavanaugh. I think he's an awesome actor. And I liked him as Wells. I think he got even better when he had to eventually show his Eobard Thawne persona, more so than the Dr. Wells persona. And it really created a lot of drama.
And he'll be back for the second season, so it just remains to see whether he's still Eobard Thawne or the actual Harrison Wells, which, again, it's going to throw everything in a tangent now in a different timeline because of, or an alternate timeline, being that Eddie killed himself.
Yep.
So.
Yep, absolutely. Are there any cast members or characters that you didn't really care for out of the first season?
I mean, some of the villains, but that's just a side note. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were just the minor ones that don't really have any bearing on the show. So, again, it didn't really bother me all that much.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to jumping or not to jump the shark. This show, there's a few episodes that are kind of iffy, but they're not outright bad. Because this show sticks to a very strict continuity. And they really, really do some interesting things with the characters. I can't believe this first season was 23 episodes. It's so long. But I think it really did do it justice. I mean, 23 episodes is long for a first season, especially in this day and age where everyone's used to these Netflix series or AMC series or cable series where they're 8 or 10 or 13 episodes, and then that's the first season, and then you come back for the next whatever the hell it is.
Most of your local channels anyway, most of the shows go to like 18 to 24 episodes.
Yeah.
So it's not that. I wasn't surprised in the slightest where it went.
No, but I'm just saying most everyone nowadays who has, seen stuff like Breaking Bad or Walking Dead or whatever, most people that are watching like television shows not similar to this, but those 1 hour shows, on cable, they're used to shorter seasons. But yeah, you're right. I mean, pretty much all the big networks use, 20, anywhere between 20 and 24, 23 episodes per season. But there was a lot that happened here. Do you have a favorite episode out of season 1?
Not really. I mean, I love the entire show, so it's kind of hard for me to pick an episode. The whole show is so well done compared to all the other shows, all the other comic shows I've watched this season. It's the only one I can say that week for week I've enjoyed every episode. I would say that the Trickster episode was probably my favorite because Mark Hamill's in it. So it's kind of a cop-out there. But
especially for that one line.
Which one?
I am your father.
That wasn't even the one for me. He's a rank amateur.
Yeah. I so was not expecting a dark Luke Skywalker with the "I am your father" line. I just so was not expecting that. And that's one thing that I believe it is Greg Berlanti, I believe is his name. I'm trying to find it here. Yeah, Greg Berlanti. That's one thing with his shows. He will pull in as many of the past cast members as he... I mean, look at Barry. Barry Allen's dad, Bart Allen, was the original Flash from the old TV show.
I'm still wondering if they're going to play with that and then he's going to exist in some alternate...
I don't know.
I still think it's going to happen.
This show at this point can do no wrong for me. They have really knocked season 1 out of the park. There really are no major missteps. I just absolutely love it. I think it would be interesting to see if they're going to do something with his dad. At the same time, I want them to go to the future.
Oh, I think there's going to be some of that.
Yeah, I want him to be interacting with Gideon more. A podcast network that I listen to, it's called AfterBuzz TV, AfterBuzzTV.com. They do not millions, but they do hundreds of TV review podcasts, and they review a show episode by episode, week in and week out. And they have, usually at any one time, they have over 300 podcasts going. This network was created by Maria Menounos of E! and WWE fame and whatever else, along with her boyfriend, husband, Kevin Undergaro. They have a Flash after show. And the crew on there, bless their hearts, they call, and originally, when we thought it was just, everybody, originally in the beginning of the season of Flash, when we thought the whole team was just going to be all buddy-buddy and there wasn't going to be any turmoil with the team, they started calling the team the Scooby Gang. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, first of all, there's no dog, so you can't have a Scooby Gang. I mean, the Flash is not Shaggy. He's not, eating and eating and eating all the time. And I don't know. It's just, some of these people that ship teams and characters and oh boy. Anyway, so what did you think of the special effects in the show?
I think for a TV budget, I think they knocked it out of the park. I think they covered a lot of the, and I think with season 2 they'll get more, more of the budget towards the special effects because it's going to get more intensive on that alone. But it's not doing a disservice to itself. Unlike some other shows, like if you watch, like Gotham has none. I mean, it's just, I'm not even going there. But
no.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tends to hide more of their issues. So there's that. But I think that this covers a lot of it. It looks more, I don't know, like that, more of that professional vibe than kind of closer to that new Daredevil show in a sense to me. It kind of has that, but it's like the brighter because it's Flash. It's not, the whole dark and gothic setup.
Yeah. And Flash has always been a very bright, upbeat character, no matter which version of him. Most of the time, no matter which version of him you're playing around with. I loved how bright the show was. I love how comical the show was. Just everything about it. It was just so cool. the coolest, I don't want to say the coolest, but the most ironic thing is after the not series. Come on, Mike, get your act together here. After the season finale, as soon as this, you know how you have a show that ends and they'll show next week on The Flash. As soon as the season finale hit and ended, the very first commercial after the ending was, "Did you miss any of The Flash? Did you not catch it? Watch it all summer long." So they're re-airing the entire first season all summer until season 2 kicks off next fall. Hey, they got to put something on that Tuesday night 9:00 spot during the summertime.
And then come this fall, we're going to have Legends of Tomorrow to go with it, which is spinning off from this and Arrow.
And Arrow, yeah. That's a discussion for a whole other day.
Yes, it is.
That is, so The Flash, absolutely loved it. They're really, like, I wanted to watch the, excuse me, I wanted to read, I actually have the first issue of it. The Flash has a digital comic, The Flash Season 0. It's written by Andrew Kreisberg, Brooke Elkmeyer, and Catherine Walzak, with art by Phil Hester and Eric Gabster. It's intended to take place between the pilot episode and episode 2, Kreisberg stated. So I know I think that's still going. I'm kind of waiting for it to come out in print issues, or trade at least. I did grab the first digital chapter for 99 cents on Comixology. It's okay. It's an interesting way to show. I think as much as I love Eric Gabster and Phil Hester, the art's a little off. Like I know they're not going to get full on characterization for actor likenesses and all that, but I don't know. So it's got its own digital comic. I wonder if they're going to be doing that again once season 2 starts. What else? What else do we need to say about The Flash? Oh, the season finale. Oh my God, the season finale. Wow. Season finale, fast enough. This is at a point where Barry and everybody knows, everybody pretty much knows what we knew. That Wells is Eobard, and they have this big giant fight. Eddie Thawne has come to the realization that his life really doesn't matter.
Oh, because Wells told him, he says, "You're a big nobody." And so he's like, fuck me, and then shoots himself in the chest.
Yeah, I thought he shot himself in the head, but okay. So this whole season finale, I actually have to watch it again, folks, because I remember it, but it's one of those things where there's so much going on. The fact that Wells even hid Eddie at Star Labs and they didn't even know it, that he was there the entire time. The whole thing with Cisco talking about Gideon's technology and the technology of the wheelchair, and he can't even keep up with it because it's so advanced. The time travel stuff, where... So, Eobard Thawne is from... Did he ever say, is it the 25th century or the 24th century or... I don't know, some Star Trek timeline.
It's not a Star Trek timeline. He said, he's from like the year 25 something, or no, he's 100. It's like 120 years in the future. That's what it was.
Right. So he's 120 years in the future, and the newspaper they always refer to is 2024, where the Flash disappears, the Flash vanishes, and I like the idea of the time travel. I like how they played with it because, let's face it, not a lot of television shows have ever pulled off time travel well. And there have only been 3 movies to ever pull it off very well. And that first movie of the 3 is 30 years old this year. I like the time travel aspect, but at times it's like, well, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I want to know what would have happened if the original timeline was going to just go ahead. Like, I want to know what Barry would have done if he found Cisco dead.
Well, the whole timeline thing is very fluid at this point, so it's hard to say what's going to happen.
Very true. Very true. I think the only thing we haven't really talked about, and they did it very well. I know a lot of people were skeptical about this, but Gorilla Grodd. What did you think of Grodd?
David Soboleff is awesome.
Yes, he is. But I mean,
Grodd.
Yeah. But I mean, the whole mechanics of them being able to do Grodd on television and the effects and the suit and all. What did you think of the overall impression on just the whole aspect of even bringing Grodd to TV?
I think it's awesome. I mean, if they're going to do superheroes, do it right. And I think that this show is taking it very seriously and doing it right. So, I mean, I think it's hitting all the right notes.
Yeah. Absolutely. It really, really is. I cannot wait for season 2.
I'm pissed it takes so long. But
I just cannot wait until season 2. Do you have any predictions or any kind of anything that you want to see in season 2?
I think Eddie's going to become the Reverse Flash. I think Harrison Wells will be Harrison Wells. I think Barry's dad. They're going to put some twist on that, I think.
Yeah.
And I also think I think the Trickster is going to come back anyway, but
you just want Joker back.
Not even Joker. I just like Hamill. He's such a good actor. No, and then I'm also kind of hoping to see, I like Barry's Rogues. I like a lot of the aspects of that. I have a feeling that they're going to time the other Flash, the helmet that came through the portal. I cannot remember for the life of me his name.
Oh, that's the helmet.
The original Flash before they created Barry Allen.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either. You'll tell us in the comments, folks. We're sorry.
I do know who it is. Like, I'm aware of him. I don't remember his name.
We just don't remember the name. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm wondering how much he's going to play into it. Yeah. And of course, future Barry.
Yeah.
Telling him no, and he's like, damn.
Yeah. I wish that one April Fool's joke would be real, because we need something. If you're going to have a Flash series, you cannot have a Flash series without doing the super race between Flash and Superman. And I really wish that April Fool's joke saying that Tom Welling was going to appear as Superman in the Flash was actually a real thing. Sadly, I don't think it's going to happen.
Don't ever say never.
I didn't say.
If the paycheck's right.
I said, sadly, I don't think it's ever going to happen. I didn't say it was never going to happen. I said, sadly, I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, The Flash. Oh God, so many good moments, so many interesting moments this season. So many cool things that they did and pulled off. And that ending with Barry running in the portal, I don't know where. I have no idea where they're going to pick it up for season 2. Like the very first episode of season 2, are we going to pick it up right where it left off in season 1, or are we going to pick it up like, oh, it's 6 months later, and I don't think they'll do this because that would just be insulting to us, the audience. Oh, it's 6 months later. Yeah, we saved the world. I don't think they'll do that, but. I'm just
pretty
really
sure they're going to
wondering.
pick it up right where it left off.
Yeah. All right. So GCRN review scale 0 to 5 stars. What are you going to give The Flash season 1, sir?
I'm going to give it my very rare 5.
Yeah. And it's so rare it could be a steak, folks. All right, I am going to give it a 5 as well. There is nothing wrong. I mean, there are little nitpicks that we could probably point out and stuff, but overall, from beginning to end, the story made so much sense. The effects were so awesome. I am also going to give it a 5. We're going to take a quick break, come back, and exit stage left after this.
Hello, geeks. Want a podcast that covers a vast array of topics with no rhyme or reason? Then check out Altered Geek Unlimited, where the topics fly more or less off the cuff. We cover media news, TV, our favorite geek products, and of course, your feedback. So get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks every Friday on the Geekcast Radio Network.
All right, folks, we are back, and The Flash. Oh, man, this show. So much happened. So many good things. I hope that they at least have one karaoke episode next season, because I really liked it when Grant and what's-her-name sang. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, there's so much that they could pull from this. They almost did a Flashpoint. That's one thing we didn't talk about in the season finale. They almost did a Flashpoint paradox, and then when Barry got back, Eobard Thawne's like, "Wait, you didn't save her?"
I was so waiting for that, but I'm glad they didn't go that route.
I am too, because it would have changed so many things so drastically. And what Barry realized was the life that he has now is because, this is not perfect, but it's a really good life. And it is a life that he has because his mom, sadly, got killed. What do you got? What are you working on, sir, to kind of close this out?
Of course, Altered Geek and various things on the website, and then some secret projects I'm not revealing.
All right. We hope you enjoyed the latest episode of Remote Control and wish you'll join us next time. Next time is going to be another Finishing Finales episode. Not exactly sure when, because I may or may not be moving. Don't know just yet, but we're going to be doing this whole Finishing Finales thing. And over the summer, we'll have the first 10 or 11 episodes of the main discussion topics with the Broadcast Network Spotlight. For now, I am TFG1Mike with
Steve Megatron Phillips.
Tune in next time when we'll be all fighting over the remote control.
Thank you for tuning into Remote Control. There are several ways to get in contact with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com. You can email us, feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can leave us feedback in iTunes. Follow us on Twitter @GeekCastRadio. You can become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. Call the voicemail line. Tell us the show you're leaving the message for and your name. 502-526-5821. We hope you enjoyed the latest episode of Remote Control and wish that you'll tune in next time to hear what TV topic we'll be talking about. Get those remotes ready because we are all remote controlled.